Blog Show. Blog Show.
Welcome to the Blog Show, your weekly voyage through the sports blogosphere. I am your captain, Mr. Irrelevant. As always, Bog is my co-pilot.
Once again, out of the basement and into the bright lights of afternoon cable we are. We're going to take you through the week in sports blogs, and every time we mention a blog, we're going to give you one of these. NHL playoff time, the coolest thing we saw on the internet last week. This is it.
Wow, that was quite a performance. And for the full thing, you can see it at CanucksandBeyond.com. Now, that video was soundtracked by Daft Punk, Around the World. Not a shabby tune, but they have a remix. It's the Safety Dance remix, which is just as nice.
And should we say that that was actually Rangers forward Ryan Holweg, for the record, and that was from Canucks.
Sexy Beast.
Canucks and Beyond blog. And the Rangers went on to kind of beat the Thrashers like a drum, which I thought was appropriate.
There's a couple moves in there. Have you tried the sprinkler or the robot or anything like that? I've seen you dancing around the studio here.
I can't do most of that stuff. But anyhow, it is NHL playoff time, and that means, once again, playoff beard talk. The blogosphere is kind of overrun with people growing playoff beards. We've got Shooting the Breeze.
I got you. I got your bell.
Growing a Penguins beard. We had Sen's Army going for the kind of casual Hollywood look with his beard. And we had the Outroute Devils blogger going with the straight-up Grizzly Man beard. And if you look over at playoffbeard.com, which is kind of the epicenter of the playoff beard growth, Brendan Shanahan is growing a marvelously sculpted playoff salt and pepper goatee.
Wow, and I'm a fan of the playoff beard because this virus is spreading across sport lines to the NBA. We've got our friends over at Gilmesh Experience noting that Baron Davis, as the Warriors have made the playoffs, already well on his way to a spectacular playoff beard.
And it's kind of unclear, I think, whether that's actually a playoff beard. He usually
it could just be his regular sense of style.
Well, he usually lets it get out of control in the summer, but he said that getting ready for the playoffs, he was in grind mode, I think. And
he's the leader of the team. It might get infectious in that clubhouse.
Yeah, but I kind of do some of my own reporting on my blog, the DC Sports blog.
Actual reporting?
Actual reporting. I talked to Michael Ruffin of the Wizards, who seems to be growing a playoff beards of sort. And he said that he wasn't really planning on it being a playoff beard, but that it sort of became that perhaps. And so I said that I'm going to grow my own playoff beard.
And you guys could both have the bald dome and the beard. That's quite striking.
Exactly. And I'm not going to shave, I guess, from now until the Wizards lose in the playoffs.
Well, our guest writer this week, Big Daddy Drew from KissingSusieColbert.net, gives you the rules for playoff beard maintenance. Rules to live by. Number one, do not trim the beard. Do not wash the beard. Do not comb the beard or twirl your whiskers like Snidely Whiplash. No gluing of hair onto the face a la Cliff Clavin from Cheers, and certainly no gluing of pubes onto the face a la Cartman from South Park.
Are you allowed to say that?
It's on regional TV. You can't say gluing pubes onto the face.
Cool. My favorite piece of advice that Big Daddy Drew gave us was that your food that gets trapped in your beard is not allowed to be consumed until after the playoffs.
That's got to be tough for a guy named Big Daddy.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a while for me, I think, until I get to the food capture mode. But I'm looking forward to that.
Well, speaking of food, there were some food fights in the stands at Fenway Park this week. In case you missed it, head to withleather.com for the full deal. But watch this pizza tossing incident.
Now watch. I can't circle. I don't have my telestrator today, but here comes a pizza. See it? Oh, jeez.
Highly unnecessary.
Guy with the Patriots jacket, and of course he's been asked to leave the ball game for ruining a good piece of pizza. So let's get beer all over. And here comes
some pizza.
You know, the best thing about that was the commentary over the course of it. You know, he's like, was that a submarine sandwich that came out and hit that guy in the face? And then they go through it like Zapruder film style until they realize that it was a slice of pizza. And that was Red Sox fan-on-fan violence.
And I was going to say that guy's got a pretty good arm. Maybe the Nationals should look into offering him a contract or something.
Wow.
Yeah. That
was a good one, Dan. And then later in the week, the Red Sox traveled up north to Toronto.
Right.
And they started picking on fans of other teams in the AL East. A Red Sox fan, I guess there was a little argument in the stands, dumped an entire beer right on a Blue Jays fan.
Tragic waste.
Got escorted right out of the Sky Dome.
Tragic waste of beer. Where did you see that one? It was
where was it? Oh, that was on the Tao of Steeb.
Right.
And that, of course, is homage to Dave Steeb, the excellent Toronto Blue Jays pitcher from the 80s and early 90s.
And there was kind of mayhem, I guess, going all over the stands and baseball parks this week. Sanjaya Malakar went to a Dodgers game and apparently was booed mercilessly.
I'm shocked by that.
And we read this on We Are the Postmen. And you know, what did they want? Bucky Covington or something? It's Sanjaya, man. You should be excited to have him there. I would have been excited.
Very nice. And you know, our friends at KissingSusieColbert.net, they compared Sanjaya to Brady Quinn and the fact that they're both overly styled and overly hyped, and that is, for them, they're getting more use out of that than actually being good at what it is they do. And
possibly a bad omen for Brady with what happened to poor Sanjaya this week.
that's very true. And even though Quinn is a quarterback slash model, the guys at FootballOutsiders.com actually think that he is a superior quarterback to Jamarcus Russell in this draft. And think Russell is more of a Achilles Smith, Ryan Leaf type of quarterback rather than a Carson Palmer or Peyton Manning.
Kind of bold. I don't know if I agree with that. But speaking of kind of top draft picks, I guess, you saw the video of Mario Williams, last year's number one
blogger.
pick.
Couldn't be missed.
All over the internet this week. Apparently Mario Williams racing his Lamborghini against a kind of souped up Subaru, I guess?
Yes, WRX.
WRX.
It's a street machine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Should we take a look?
Yes. Wow, that was some underground video. You can tell because it was so dark. You couldn't even tell what was going on. But it was 9 minutes long, and you can watch the whole thing at thebiglead.com or 850thebuzz.com. It got taken down by the powers that be early in the week, but it's back up just for you, blog show watchers. And that's pretty impressive. The girl that was riding shotgun mentioned that Mario Williams may or may not have gotten his Lamborghini up to 200 miles per hour on the roadways. Have you ever cracked triple digits?
No. I drive a Dodge Caravan, and
I've heard of it.
Sometimes cruising down like 16th Street in D.C., I'll go like 15 or 20 maybe.
You're very lucky you're married since you're suffering from personal fashion in your car. But
there's some like duct tape marks on it too.
People that are not suffering from personal fashion are bloggers, because this was a banner week in blogger fashion.
It was good, and I'm going to take you back a little bit, if you don't mind. Dan Shanoff from danshanoff.com kind of launched this idea earlier in the season, and he said, in the basketball season, he said that Barack Obama was the Gilbert Arenas of presidential candidates. Why do you think he said that? I'll tell you. Because of the devotion that these two men elicit from their supporters, because of their accessibility, because of the way they get such blog love from across the blogosphere, and the fact that they're kind of untested and just kind of new faces on the scene. And so the Whiznuts this week gave us the official Obama Arenas in 08 campaign with T-shirts to boot. And I'm going to give you some of their campaign tenets, if you don't mind.
Please, stump for Obama Arenas.
And Len Downey, if you're watching, I'm not actually supporting this ticket. There's the No Snub Left Behind Act. There's the I Want to Feel the Face of Freedom move, which is in honor of Sean Stevenson's I Can't Feel My Face, obviously.
You do that well.
And he would be the Homeland Security czar in the Obama Arenas administration.
Doubt.
Anyhow, there's these T-shirts in honor of the campaign, and I think it's a great fashion move.
Only one more year. Wiznuts.com for the Obama Arena shirt. There's 3 other shirts from the blogosphere this week that you need to get on your back. First, from thehypeguy.com, in honor of all the NBA teams tanking it down the stretch to game the lottery system and grab a Durant or a Greg Oden. They made a Tank the Damn Season t-shirt with Tank, very highly fashionable. Also, KissingSusieColbert.net made a shirt in honor of the '99 draft class, not so much for the good guys, I think, like, Donovan McNabb and, well, I guess arguably, Dante Culpepper, but Tim Couch, Achilles Smith, and Cade McNown, personal favorite. And there's one more shirt, wasn't there?
Yeah, I just can't get enough of Playoff Beards this week. Modesty's House, a blog from Pittsburgh, is offering its Playoff Beard Time t-shirts.
That's a good name for a blog.
Which I think that I'm going to be wearing before the end of this playoff season.
And on the fashion tip, JoeSportsFan.com has rounded up Tom Hinkie's army. And this is in reference to eyeglass-wearing ball players from the 80s, but not basketball players like Kurt Rambis. Baseball players like Tom Hinkie, the closer for the Blue Jays, who wore everyday eyewear, just as you do now. But he actually wore them on the field of competition.
Right.
This was standard in the 80s. Leon Durham was in Tom Hinkie's army, and they've got different I guess classifications of eyewear.
Right.
So you've got the Eric Dickersons like Chris Sabo and Alex Cole, who's not so famous. Also, Tony La Russa's army wears the prescription sunglasses.
Right.
He still wears that actually, but Reggie Jackson and even Kent Colby from the Pittsburgh Pirates popularized in the 80s.
So wait, who's favored in a matchup between Tom Hinkie's army and France?
Well, Tom Hinkie's army will not quit.
Okay.
Those colors don't run.
Cool. Awesome. Are we almost done?
I think so. You've got to name your cheese of the week.
Okay, it's playoff time, NBA playoff time, and NHL playoff time, and that means goats. And so we're going to do a goat cheese. Coach Farm goat cheese from upstate New York. A nice, fresh, crumbly, creamy. You'll love it.
I'm glad that you're putting experience as a cheese buyer to good use here on regional TV.
Right. You can do a lot of things with Coach Farm goat. You can cook with it. You can put it in salads.
All right, well, that is for this week's blog show.
You don't care.
Be sure to tune in next Friday on Washington Post Live. We're 6 p.m. every single week to see what T-shirts we're wearing and also see what blogs we're talking about. But before you go, please check out the YouTube clip of the week via Deadspin.com. It is the world's greatest beer pong player.
Dog Show wardrobe provided by WizNuts.com and 289 Design.
Ah, yes. For more of that, check out the DC Sports Blog on WashingtonPost.com. Of course, that's Dan Steinberg's masterpiece that appears, well, every day and night and all hours in between on WashingtonPost.com. And Jamie Mottram's personal blog is called MrIrrelevant.com.